Welcome back to SwitchedtoLinux. Well, we are going to look at the final Deepin review today. In the next couple of days, I'm going to be removing Deepin from the computer. I'm going to move on to something else. So, of course, if you watch some of my my bare metal distro reviews, I run the distro for a week or more, and then one of the indicators of how well I like a distribution is, do I drop out of this and onto the distribution that is on the hard drive in this computer? And with this one here, the answer is no, I did not. There's enough about Deepin that it's really good. It's very functional. It's very slick. It looks nice. Lot of great features. Really, the only bad things are all minor things, but there's enough of them that it's like, it's really cool when you start working on it, and it's really annoying later on. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with Deepin. So, of course, here you can see we're on the desktop. Installing software is no big deal. Let's go ahead and start with all of the great parts first, and then we'll kind of get into the more annoying parts. So, the great parts. The flexibility and the customizability of the desktop while maintaining simplicity. So it's not like KDE, you can do anything you want, but man, is it complicated. It's not like GNOME. You want to change something? Tough, schmuck. It's in between. It's a good balance. Of course, you see that I have mine set up more like a Windowsy type platform. Of course, I can't get my task list down here, which to me is a little bit annoying, especially cycling through multiple different instances of a web browser. So if I want to boot up multiple instances of a web browser, so maybe let's just go to view.yahoo.com on this one. And it basically click through this to cycle through the different ones, but how do you minimize them without minimizing everything? Well, I can go down and hover down there in the corner because that's something I put into place. So that was certainly what I can do. But I can set this up the way I like. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of the Mac UI. And so for me, this is the way I like to set it up. I have a menu. I have the panel at the bottom, goes all the way across. The unfortunate thing is I don't have those tasks. If you do like more like a Mac type menu, you can very easily click that arrow and get back to that view there. Same with the panel under the mode. You can go under fashion mode, in which you have the panel here, and then we'll just go ahead and do this. So this would be, mocking it up quite a bit more like a Mac type system, which I'm not a huge fan of. So I go for my efficient mode. Of course, I'm not sure where my panel went now. There it goes. It recovered. So that's kind of what's great about it. As far as the overall design, they did go for like a Mac-like appearance. So this would be yet another instance where they were trying to duplicate the Mac. Not quite as much as the Elementary team was, but at least these guys got down the polish that the Elementary team lacked. Elementary is designed to make it look like a Mac, but it's not polished. This is polished. This looks good. And I disagree that the other distro does. I think it looks like a cheap Mac knockoff. This doesn't. Very good, very nice, very stylish. As far as it's based on Ubuntu, and so I was able to install pretty much anything on this. I believe Snap is enabled by default. I'm pretty sure everything else is as well. Maybe Snap, maybe Flatpak. I do like the underwater type views in there, matches. Of course, the icon theme I'm using is installed by default, but it's not the default one. We do have the option, nearly every Windows has settings in the same place over here by your minimize. So what I end up doing is you can select the China region, in which case you're going to have a repo which contains a lot of Chinese apps in it. So you see there's a 360 security browser, and there's some more in there as well if you dig in. If you go into the international region, it's going to get rid of your Chinese-based apps, and then you will have the ability there to just to see the various things. Of course, pretty much anything you need. If you remember when I first installed this, They do make some weird software choices as far as I'm concerned. They give you Google Chrome, but no other web browser. They give you WPS Office, which has a EULA that I can't agree to. And just a few other applications. It's a little, I don't know. However, not a huge deal. Just get rid of the things you don't want. In this case, I installed Firefox and Chromium, or the two web browsers I generally use on this type of computer. Of course, I use Waterfox on my more stable long-term computers. Anything else you can find, but I also liked this software center is absolutely amazing. It is what most Linux software centers I think have attempted to get to, but have not figured out, once again, the polish. The polish of Deepin is bar none. It is absolutely awesome. We have rankings, we have internet-based groups. It's just, we get the pictures, we get the icons, we have everything that we need. Click in on one of these guys. We have all the basic information. So this is just, it's a very nice system. These are the things currently downloading. The uninstall is a list of things that you currently have installed on your system. So you can just uninstall things from over here. Now, I did run into an issue earlier that we saw when I did my initial setup video, that sometimes uninstalling something from here did not actually uninstall it. It didn't uninstall it from everywhere. Also, we did make note that there was a folder in here which was Chinese characters, which I don't remember if it was showing up here or just in the terminal. Some people have said that's related directly to WPS Office. Some people said it was a templates directory. Some people said it was a WPS templates. I never got a chance to get around in testing if I were to put a templates folder in here, if that would actually work for me. So if I were to go into home here, I think this is where I want to be. And if I create a new folder that is called templates, I did not actually test if putting a template in here would actually get my context menu to work. So I'm not sure, because you can see here that we have open text document, spreadsheet document, presentation, and plain text on the right click on the new document on the menu, which once again, the menu is polished. Very nice. Usually that is something that goes in the templates folder, so I'm not completely sure. Let's go ahead and create a new document here. And I'm just going to do index.html. No, not .html, .text. Oh, lordy. Okay, here's a negative with Deepin. I don't want that to have the extension of text. Oh, Lord. So, yeah, we're missing some of the functionality in Linux that we should actually have. Okay, so now this is officially an index file. Okay, so open that up. That should open up with, it's opening up with WordPad. Anyway, let's see if that actually adds itself to the menu. You'll see it does not. So I'm not sure what's adding the new documents. This is a little bit of a deviation from where Linux generally goes, where you need that templates folder. It's probably on here somewhere. Somebody probably already knows that, but I don't know. It's different from the regular Linux, where you use that templates folder. Let's go ahead and move on to the things that are not quite as good about Deepin. First and foremost, pulling over your settings menu. I kind of liked how with Budgie and the Raven menu initially had the settings in here, but then they pulled it out. It didn't look as flashy and polished, but I completely now understand why they did it. Having run Solace and then now running Deepin, this is a bad place for have settings, because what ends up happening is you get lost in the midst of all of these things. And of course, there's even advanced in some of these things. Even accessing your volume, like when I plug in my Meteor mic here, which has a monitor output line, many Linux distros, once I plug the Meteor in, will automatically change the speakers to the monitor line out on the Meteor mic, because it thinks you plugged in a new audio device and you would like to push it over there. Well, on Budgie, I can just pull up the Raven menu and, come on. I can pull up just the Raven menu, and right here it always starts the home page on the Raven menu where I can make those adjustments and decide what input or output I want to do. And so with that being said, you don't have that option. In order to do the same exact function here, I'd have to get into here, click here, and then advanced, and then I can choose my option. So what ends up happening is the settings get a little bit too convoluted. Additionally, the same problem I had on Solus. I want the monitor to turn off when I want it to turn off, or not turn off when I don't want it to turn off. Right now, you'll see that I have my monitor suspend after never. Sometimes the monitor stays on perpetually. Sometimes it shuts off after 1 minute. Can't find anything else to control that. Now, speaking of things you can't control, does anybody spot the thing that is missing from the settings section? I will give you a fun hint. It's loud, noisy, and becomes annoying. That is notifications. Now, when you first run Deepin and you first hear the Deepin notifications, they are amazing. They sound great. Very good systems, very good. The cat's kind of going crazy. I'm not sure if you saw him jump up there, but in the back corner. But rewind a few seconds, you might see the cat playing with the green screen. I don't know. Anyway, one of the biggest challenges is the notifications on this is very good initially. Oh, I'm looking for my folder with the notification sounds. When you first turn it on, they have very refreshing notification sounds. However, your notification sounds become annoying after a while. So here's your desktop login, which, by the way, for whatever reason, the music player on Deepin cannot read WAV files. So I have to start Audacity to play these. So here is your Deepin login. Okay. Which is, admittedly, a very nice sound. It is not excessive or annoying at all. What does get annoying is this one. Okay, now that is a new message notification, and it happens for everything, and you can't turn it off. Okay, if I get an email, ding, 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 I'm on Skype. Every time somebody sends you a simple message on Skype, I get Skype's notification and Deepin's notification. The only thing you can do is open up this message.wav file and edit it to blank file. There is nowhere you can adjust these. Now, some people suggest try installing dconf editor and see if you can adjust anything from there, because the sound or the notification platform in this is based on the GNOME notifications. I attempted to do that. No dice. I have exactly one option, that is simply to delete these files. Well, not delete them, it'll probably have a hissy fit, but overwrite the files with blank sound. You cannot turn off the notifications, and when you get about 10 to 15 emails an hour, it makes you want to kill the computer. And that is actually the primary reason I'm getting rid of Deepin. I get too many notifications in the day to hear that sound, which the first time you hear it's like, wow, that's a nice notification sound. The 30th time you've heard it in a given day, I'm ready to go and end it. Okay, so that is one of those things that they are completely missing. Is we need the ability in this to control notifications. If you rely on sound, you rely on that kind of stuff, you want to be aware that notifications is going to drive you crazy. You're going to have to go into the root files of the operating system, edit WAV files to be blank files in order to not be constantly annoyed by notifications. If you have some application, Telegram or Skype or any other thing that provides its own notifications, be expecting to hear 2 notifications every single time you get one, because Deepin will be completely unrelenting in giving you that. So ultimately, Deepin itself is very nice, is very polished, but it gets old fast. It really does get old faster than most other operating systems I have used. And that anytime you need to look for something in the settings, it takes you about 3 times longer to find it. Even KDE settings is easier to navigate than this. Despite there is this nice thing, it is nice sliding, but then you have to hunt around for where it is, figure out is it under some advanced or anything else, and you end up with a situation where, you know, even this panel here, the weather, unable to get weather. I guess I didn't ever put my city in there. There's your notifications, of course. It's like the menu is just, they have too much stuff on their side menu. As far as applications I was using, I didn't run into any real issues with applications. I'm using, I did actually. Firefox. Yeah, Control D to bookmark. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. Coming up here to my bookmarks menu, bookmark this page, doesn't do anything. I can't seem to, okay, I can show bookmarks. I can't seem to do this. Now, this could possibly be the fact that I have imported this Firefox profile from my other builds. However, I've never had a problem of not being able to add new bookmarks, and this profile has been shared between, I think, 5 or 6 different computers now. So I can't imagine that's the issue. Outside of that, I didn't notice any other major issues. I didn't bother with entering in passwords in Evolution to actually use Evolution, but I did use Thunderbird quite a bit, which was good. I've used Kodi quite a bit. Obviously, we're running Simple Screen Recorder and GVC View right now. Other things I've done is I've done some work on GIMP, and let's see what else we did here. Skype seems to not have any issues, although I didn't do any large amounts of conference calling on Skype to see if that was something that if we'd have the issues resolved where Skype calls becoming crumbly. But that's actually been on every version of Skype that I've used outside of the one that is on one of my Debian builds, which I refuse to update because, oh Lord, the thing keeps breaking. Skype keeps on breaking. So everything else in here is pretty good. Now, would I recommend the operating system? I'm not completely sure I want to recommend it for a brand new user. Maybe, maybe not. The biggest holdouts for me are the notifications, the complexity of the settings, and basic things like that. As far as if you're looking for something that is good, stylish, functionable, other than that, the initial recording that I did on the setup, I've not had any more of those system crashes. So we'll call that some crazy one-off weird thing. I don't know. Maybe it is for a new user. I'm not sure. The things that drives me the most crazy about it are the notifications. Like I said, all very, very minor things. Notifications, the lack of the task list, things like that. But if you wanted a system that's reasonably stable and highly polished, something that does actually get out of your way but has a lot of good support, this might be it. I did not attempt to install my other printer on it. I did do a lot of other things on it, media related and otherwise. I did not encounter any issues with media. as far as playing videos, playing music through Kodi, through Chromium, or through Firefox. All that was good. So yeah, this distro is pretty good. I'm getting rid of it mostly, again, for those notification purposes, and that the settings are a little bit more complicated. It looks flashier, I think, than it is, and I'm not sure if that is something that that's important to people. So that's it. Overall, Deepin though, I'll give it a 2 thumbs up. I'll say it's a good distro. Definitely, it's pretty sweet. So definitely better than it has been in the past, which is why I was comfortable running it to begin with. Of course, we didn't address any of the, is it spyware? It's out of China. Well, I don't really trust the United States much anymore these days either, so I think there have been enough security audits done on the thing. I don't know. But anyway, as far as everything else I can see, it's a good distro. Definitely check it out. Decide for yourself if it's a daily driver for you or not. And then then decide from there. So that's all really what I want to say about Deepin. Check out the links in the description down below if you want to learn how to support this channel. And I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.